Good morning, students. So far, we have discussed various aspects of chapter number 6, life processes, and we have discussed how different life processes take place in the bodies of plants as well as bodies of animals. Now, we have discussed nutrition, how plants and animals obtain their food, how that food is utilized in the body, and then how energy is liberated from that food and it is used for various biological processes. We have also learnt about autotrophic nutrition, parasitic mode of nutrition. We have also learnt about heterotrophic mode of nutrition and how different organisms use different organs, especially the complex organisms, higher organisms. They are called complex organisms. How they have different organs and organ systems for using that food and converting it into usable form. All right. Now we come to the last part of the chapter, and that is excretion. Now you see, once the food is obtained, it is taken into the body, it is digested, and the essential constituents of food, such as carbohydrates, the water that is part of the food that we eat, excess amount of water that may be in the body, plus vitamins, mineral salts, proteins, fats, all those things are extracted from the food that we eat. And once it is extracted, it is made a part that is assimilated into the bloodstream and it is made use of. But what about the fact that there are some parts of the food which is absolutely undigestible or which is not useful to the body? What happens to that part of the food that is not useful to the body? Well, obviously it has to be removed from the body. It has to be excreted. To remove waste product from the body, that process is called excretion. And this removal of excretion or removal of waste product from the body, that is the process of excretion, is different from different plants and animals. For example, plants cannot move about. Okay, their body structure is different, and therefore their mode of nutrition is also different, and their mode of excretion is also different. In case of single cell creatures, single cell organisms, the single cell acts as everything. It takes in the food, digests it, assimilates it, and then the waste matter is ejected by the simple process of diffusion. But what about complex organisms, higher organisms, like humans? Well, in case of humans, just like the respiratory system, the digestive system, there is the whole system consisting of various organs, and they collectively act together, function together to remove waste products from the body. All right. The first thing we will discuss is about excretion in humans, how excretion takes place. So what is excretion? Excretion is the removal of waste product from the body. Remember, waste can be, you can see the first question out there, define excretion. Okay. And the second question here is very important question. It has been asked in board exam before and it can be asked again. Explain the excretory system in humans with the help of a diagram, or explain the process of excretion in humans with the help of a diagram. So this diagram is extremely important. Make sure you write this question out here and underline everything or highlight everything that I have highlighted. All the metabolic activities, okay, that take place in our body. Metabolic activities are activities such as nutrition, obtaining the food, digesting it, respiration, and so on. All those metabolic activities generate certain waste products. And this waste product can be in the form of liquid waste or it can be in the form of solid waste. Liquid waste, of course, we know it is called urine. And urine, if it is allowed to accumulate in the body, then it can become toxic for the body. It can become poisonous. And therefore, it is essential that all such toxic waste be removed from the body. Alright, see here, we have already discussed how organisms get rid of gaseous waste. Carbon dioxide is gaseous waste. It has to be removed from the body. It is removed from the lungs, generated during photosynthesis or during respiration. During the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is utilized and oxygen is a waste product. But even oxygen is removed from the stomata, that is the tiny holes in the leaves. In case of other organisms, respiration is the process by which oxygen is utilized. Carbon dioxide is a gaseous waste. It has to be removed. Other metabolic activities generate nitrogenous materials which need to be removed. The biological process involved in the removal of this harmful metabolic waste from the body is called excretion. So the question here, defined excretion. Okay, this is the answer to the question. Different organisms use different strategies to do this. Many unicellular organisms such as amoeba and paramecium remove such waste products by simple diffusion from the body. Okay, there is only one single cell and the diffusion process is enough from the body surface into the surrounding water. As we have seen in other processes, complex multicellular organisms use specialized organs to perform some functions. All these functions, for example, in the case of humans, we have what is called a pair of kidneys, the left and right hand side of the backbone. Okay, in the lower part of the backbone, you see the two kidneys. All right. Now, excretion in humans. Now, you can see here, look at the diagram first. There is, you see the left renal artery and left renal vein. You can see here, left renal artery, left renal vein. Now, generally, arteries carry purified blood and veins carry impure blood. But in the case of kidneys, it is the other way around. The left renal artery will bring impure blood, okay, containing impurities into the kidneys. And the left renal veins generally carry impure blood. But in this case, the purified blood leaves through the left renal vein and goes back into the bloodstream after the impurities are removed. And then there are two bean-shaped, brown-colored, bean-shaped kidneys. Now, kidneys do the work of filtration. When blood passes through the kidneys, okay, then there are important mineral salts and compounds which are present, even amino acids which are present in that blood. Now, the body doesn't want to waste those useful products, so it carries out filtration in the kidneys itself, and useless waste is thrown out, whereas the important constituents such as proteins, okay, amino acids, anything, mineral salts, whatever is useful to the body is reabsorbed. That part is reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. All right. Then you can see there is the left kidney, the right kidney, the left renal vein artery, aorta, which carries the blood. Okay, and the left ureter and the right ureter. You see this small tube coming out from the kidneys, the grey colored tubes. They are called the ureters. These ureters bring urine from the two kidneys into the urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is a muscular sac. Okay, it's a small sac or a container in which the ureters bring the urine slowly, drop by drop. Remember, this filtration is continuously going on. Even when you are fast asleep, this process goes on. So sometimes you will see that when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you want to do is go to the bathroom, because at night the process of filtration is taken place and lot of urine may have collected in the urinary bladder, and therefore pressure builds up. When pressure builds up, you see automatically you feel the urge to urinate, and you go to the bathroom, and with the help of muscles which tighten and that spins the muscles, help to throw out urine from the urinary bladder. And the urethra is a tiny organ through which, of course, we know that in men it is penis, and in women also there is the urethra through which urine is ejected from the body. So this is the liquid waste. Solid waste, we have already discussed about how the large intestine allows the solid waste to be removed from the anus, the rectum and the anus. And in case of liquid waste, this is how the urine is filtered by the kidneys. Of course, gaseous waste is also produced, carbon dioxide, and that is ejected through the lungs. So all three forms of excretory products, gaseous excretory products in the form of carbon dioxide is ejected by the lungs, liquid waste is filtered and removed by the kidneys, and the solid waste is removed by the large intestines. So this whole process together is called the excretory system in humans. Alright, so let's read this. The excretory system of human beings includes a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder, and the urethra. Kidneys are located in the abdomen, one on either side of the backbone. Urine produced in the kidneys passes through the ureters in the urinary bladder, where it is stored. Periodically, it is removed through the urethra. How is urine produced? You see, this urine is produced in the kidneys. But how does it produce it? How does filtration take place? There are millions of cells in the kidneys called nephrons, Nephrons. These nephrons are actually filtration units in the kidneys. That is the process of urination, or the process of formation of urine takes place in the nephrons. The purpose of making urine is to filter out waste products from the blood. Just as carbon dioxide is removed from the blood in the lungs, nitrogenous waste such as urea or uric acid are removed from the blood in the kidneys. So if you carry out pathological analysis, okay, in the laboratory with the help of certain instruments, urine can be analyzed. You will find a lot of urea and nitrogenous waste products which are part of the urine. That is why urine actually can be a good natural fertilizer also, and it is used in villages. It is then no surprise that the basic filtration unit in the kidneys is the kidneys. To read further, okay, like in the lungs is a cluster of very thin walled blood capillaries. Each capillary cluster in the kidney is associated with a cup-shaped end of a coiled tube called the Bowman's capsule that collects the filtrate. Each kidney has a large number of these filtration units called nephrons packed closely together. So what are nephrons? Nephrons are filtration units or single cells of the kidneys. The cells of the kidneys are called nephrons. What is the Bowman's capsule? There is a question out here. What is the Bowman's capsule? Now the Bowman's capsule, okay, you can see the structure of the nephron. Now this is an extremely important question here. Explain the process of ultrafiltration taking place in the kidneys with the help of a diagram. This of course is taking place in the nephrons. Okay, so I'm going to write an additional question here. Explain the structure and working of the nephron with the help of a diagram. Okay, explain the structure and working of the nephron with the help of a diagram. Now again, specifically explain the structure and working of the nephron with the help of a diagram. You can see this. I know some students find it difficult to make this one, but unfortunately this is a very important one and has been asked several times in the board exam. Several times. So it's important that you learn this one. Okay, the figure must be, and you have to practice drawing this. You cannot just watch it. You have to practice it, then only you are going to learn. Alright, now see this Bowman's capsule. The upper part, that coiled tube is called the Bowman's capsule. Glomerulus, the inner part of the Bowman's capsule. And then you see this part, the tubular part of the nephron. This whole structure is of the nephron. Okay, what is the nephron? It's a kidney cell. What does it do? It filters urine. Okay, and you can see this, the last part, collecting duct, where it is written collecting duct. That is where the filtrate, the filtered part of the liquid part, okay, the one which is useless, is collected here, and it goes direct, it gets collected and it goes into the renal artery, from where rather it goes into the ureters, and from the ureters it goes into the urinary bladder. So you see, branch of renal vein, the blue part, that is with, remember, vein carries the impure blood generally, but in this case it carries pure blood. Okay, and the arteries will actually carry impure blood in the case of kidneys only. And the kidneys arteries, and kidney artery is called a renal artery. Kidney vein is called a renal vein. The word renal means related to the kidneys. So just be careful about this one. Okay. Now each capillary has nephron close together. Some substances in the initial filtrate, such as glucose, which is a sugar, amino acids, salts, and major amounts of water, are selectively reabsorbed as the urine flows along the tube. The amount of water reabsorbed depends on how much excess water there is in the body and on how much dissolved waste there is to be excreted. The urine forming in each kidney eventually enters a long tube. This is the long tube which I am talking about. The ureter, which connects the kidneys with the urinary bladder. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder until pressure of the expanded bladder leads to the urge to pass it out through the urethra. The bladder is a small muscular bag. Okay, so it is under nervous control. In other words, you can control it, as we have discussed elsewhere. As a result, we can usually control the urge to urinate. You see, as people get older, sometimes they lose control over the muscular bag, the urinary bladder. And sometimes children at night, you see, you must have noticed some children about the age of 3 and 4, 2 years old, they urinate in the bed. But that is because of different reasons. They are too small to realize, and they have got less control over that. Whereas, of course, grown-ups are supposed to have control, muscular control, nervous control over the urinary bladder, and you can control the urge to urinate. Alright, now artificial kidney or hemodialysis. The word hemo means blood. Hemodialysis means dialysis of the blood. But dialysis of the blood means filtration of the blood. In other words, it is an artificial method of filtration of the urine. Just as the kidneys do the work of filtration of the urine, the blood and all the essential components, in the same way there is an instrument or an entire mechanical setup in the hospital which does the work of the kidneys, and that is called dialysis or simply hemodialysis, artificial kidneys. Alright, you see what happens is, in some people, especially those who suffer from diabetes, they have this problem of frequently urinating, and they are not able to carry out, the kidneys are not able to do their function properly, especially people who are suffering from extreme diabetes. They have this problem, the blood cannot filter the urine properly, the kidneys are not doing their function well, okay, and in such cases dialysis is carried out. So what happens is, such a patient is taken to the hospital, and he is attached to a particular machine, okay, which is shown in this figure out here. Okay, this is called a dialysis machine. It consists of membranes and certain liquids which are stored. The membranes are stored in a selectively permeable membrane, just like the cell membrane. It has got tiny pores, and because of osmotic pressure between the liquid, the yellow colored liquid, and the blood, the red colored blood flowing through it, as you can see in the diagram there, because of that there is an exchange of liquids, and urine is filtered out, and the rest of the substances go back into the body. Now you can see what is there. A patient is shown in the figure, okay, and a line from the apparatus to the vein, a line from the artery to the pump. Okay, remember, the artery carries impure blood, whereas the vein, which is going back inside, now it has got purified blood. So it enters this apparatus, and you can see there are two tiny bottles there, small bottles out there, where urine is collected. This entire process is called dialysis, and it can take several hours, 6-7 hours. But you see, some patients require this because their kidneys are not doing well. Kidneys are vital organs for survival. Several factors like infections, injury, or restricted blood flow to kidneys reduce the activity of the kidneys. This leads to accumulation of poisonous or toxic waste in the body, which can even lead to death. It is a poison. It has to be removed from the body. In case of kidney failure, an artificial kidney can be used. An artificial kidney is a device to remove nitrogenous waste product from the blood through dialysis. Artificial kidney contains a number of tubes with semi-permeable linings or membranes suspended in a tank filled with dialytic fluid. A dialysing fluid is a fluid which actually allows the process to take place. This fluid has the same osmotic pressure as blood, except that it is devoid of any nitrogenous waste matter. The patient's blood is passed through these tubes. During this passage, the waste product from the blood passes into the dialysing fluid by diffusion. The purified blood is then pumped back into the patient. This is similar to the function of the kidney, but it is different since there is no reabsorption involved. Remember, when the kidneys do the job, afterwards, in the filtrate, if there is still some excess amount of water, mineral salts, fats, proteins, amino acids, then they are reabsorbed into the blood because they are useful for the body. That reabsorption takes place because kidney is able to do that. But in this case, artificial dialysis, the same thing happens, but reabsorption does not happen because the machine does not have that ability. Normally, in a healthy adult, the initial filtrate in the kidneys is about 180 liters daily. So imagine the amount of liquid filtrate that is formed in the kidneys. But remember, you do not urinate 180 liters per day. That is too much. But only about a liter and a half of urine is gone because the rest of it is reabsorbed. However, the volume actually excreted is only a liter or even 2 liters a urine a day because the remaining filtrate is reabsorbed in the kidney tubules. That is important. So, although 180 liters passes through the kidneys every day, only about 2 liters are ejected as urine because the rest of the important substances are absorbed into the blood because of the kidneys' action. Alright, now there is about organ donation. A little bit of a paragraph about organ donation. You see, some people, before they die, they sign a declaration that they would like to donate their organs to people who require it or for scientific research. They are required to sign an official declaration. Now, when these people die, you see, because they made a declaration for donating their organs, their body is taken quickly to the hospital and then their organs are removed. It is all done in a nice, proper environment with the help of doctors and relatives of the deceased person. And then these organs are stored in special containers so that they do not deteriorate, they do not become bad. And then those organs are given to those who require it, donated. For example, livers can be donated, kidneys can be donated, even heart can be transplanted. Many organs can be transplanted these days, but kidney transplant is one of the most common transplants. Okay, many years ago, kidney transplant was not so common, but today it's quite common. Liver transplant is also possible, but it's a bit difficult. Heart transplant is also been done, has also been done, but unfortunately, it's not. The success rate is slightly low, and it is not so easy to carry out heart transplants. But organ donation is quite common the world over. It happens in India also. We have a lot of organ donors and recipients. People can even donate their eyes. Okay, when they die, their eyes are given to people who are blind, legally blind, and then their vision can be restored. So this is very useful. Okay, kidneys, but of course, before the organ transplant takes place, the recipient should be ready. The donor should have signed a letter of donating his organs, and at the same time, the organ must be free of disease. A person who has disease cannot donate his organs, because you see that infection can pass on to the new person, to the recipient, and therefore the person has to be he must die a natural death, and the organ which he is donating should not be diseased. All right, so that is about organ donation. And today, kidney donation is quite common. Okay, the world over, not just in India, but world over. All right, now excretion in plants. So that was about excretion in animals, especially in complex organisms such as humans. But plants also have metabolic waste products. They also need to excrete metabolic waste products. So their process, because they cannot move about, you see, they do not have specific organs like humans have, and their process of excretion is slightly different. Plants use completely different methods for excretion than those of animals. Oxygen itself is a byproduct of photosynthesis, and it is a waste product. So it is excreted from the stomata of the leaves. Oxygen itself can be thought of as a waste product generated during the process of photosynthesis. We have discussed earlier how plants deal with oxygen as well as carbon dioxide. They are ejected through the stomata. They can get rid of excess water by transpiration. Transpiration is a process by which water vapor is lost through the tiny holes called the stomata in the leaves. So excess water can be lost through transpiration. For other waste products, and plants use the fact that many of the tissues consist of dead cells, and that they can even lose some parts such as leaves. Now during the autumn season, that is just before the winter season, especially in cold countries, you must have noticed that leaves, some trees, they shed the leaves. That is also a process of excretion. And then when the spring season comes, they have new leaves. Okay. The other thing is, in cases of some trees, if you cut the bark is actually the outer part of the stem, the outer part. If you see a banyan tree or a neem tree, the outer part is covered with thick bark. That thick bark is also dead tissue. That is how excretion takes place. You can actually catch it with your hand and remove the bark. Okay, or you can take a sharp instrument and remove the bark. Of course, you should never use sharp instruments because it's a bit dangerous. But for other waste plants, use many of the tissues consist of dead cells, and that they can even lose some parts such as leaves. Many plants waste products are stored in cellular vacuoles. If you scratch the bark of a neem tree or any other tree, small substances, liquids called gums, GUM, gums begin to come out. It's a transparent brown colored liquid. That gum is also an excretory product. Resins are excretory products. Okay, rubber is an excretory product. Many plants' waste products are stored in cellular vacuoles. Waste products may be stored in leaves that fall off during the winter season. Other waste products are stored as resins and gums, especially in the old xylem. Plants also excrete some waste substances in the soil around them. They absorb water from the soil and nutrients. In the same way, they can excrete a few products into the soil as well. So this is about the process of excretion. All right, now I've gone through the entire chapter, and then you can see there are some questions out here. Okay, lots of questions out here, which I will be sending to you in the form of a PDF. Okay, this will be sent to you, and you please write those questions and answers in a notebook and prepare it thoroughly. And all the questions which I have actually discussed here, okay, all the questions which I have discussed here and highlighted, whatever portion I have highlighted, just make sure that you also write it out here. Okay, there is a question out here which I failed to highlight. What are resins and gums? Okay, the answer, remember, the answer is always close to the question. That is why the question is placed out here. You can see what are resins and gums, and that answer you will find exactly out here. Okay, donation of organs, that is not so important for you because it is just for information. Okay, it's for you to think about it. So this is life processes. Entire chapter is completed. and I've tried to help you out as much as possible. Go through this chapter carefully. Whatever I've highlighted, you must highlight it also. Wherever I've written the questions, write them. And then the PDF which I send you, write those question answers in the notebook. Alright, that should be enough for today. Next chapter I'm going to take up from maths. That is triangles, chapter number 6, triangles and similarity of triangles and Pythagoras theorem. That's a very important chapter. Okay, and I will teach you in a slightly different manner. So be prepared for that. Okay, thank you and have a nice day.